Hello viewers, this is Flying Flapper and welcome to more Project Cars 2 in the form of the Neo-Racing League Group, where we're doing round 8 of the GT3 Championship around Long Beach Street Circuit, with the second of the 2 sprint races in the Lamborghini GT3 cars. Now, I do apologise for getting this video out late. Unfortunately, I had major issues with my old PC where I lost all my content and the editing software as well. So I've had to reload the editing software, re-record the clips, and then make this video for the second time as well. So big apologies there, guys. But I have got a sneak preview of what's coming up in the next video for round 9 of the GT3 Championship, so let's take a look. So guys, that is what's coming up in the next video. Round 9 of the Spa Grand Prix in the pouring rain, using the Porsche 911 GT3 cars. And not only is it going to be a test skill wise, but a test mentally as well. Survival of the fittest, you could say. So look out for that in the next video. But for now, we are doing a Long Beach Street Circuit Sprint Race 2. So let's have a look at the qualifying results. So, on pole we find Bidster with a 1:16.475 and is the first man to get pole position from Neo Stig since he joined the GT3 Championship 4 races ago. So congratulations to Bidster. Second place is of course Neo Stig, can't be too disappointed with that. Third is TY, fourth is Stevie Q, got to say that's a good performance from him. Fifth is Flying Flapper, sixth is Jamo, seventh is Jay Hewson, eighth is Lil Yam, ninth is Neil Farmack. Very, very surprised to see him down there. Probably his worst performance in qualifying since I've been in the GT3 Championship. 10th is Blakeney, 11th is Sequan, 12th is Razorblade, 13th is Callum Paul Banks, and 14th is Danny Quaver, although he didn't do any qualifying and is absent from the race. So without further ado, let's get straight into the race. So welcome guys to round 8 of the Long Beach Street Circuit. We've got a new guy on pole, which is Bidster. He's the first guy to grab pole from Neo Stig since he joined the championship, and Bidster's first pole since round 5 at Dubai as we get underway. And great start there from Jamo as he moves up to third place before we've even got to turn 1. And as we do approach the Toyota turn, we've got TY and Fly Flapper side by side. TY gets in front though, and as we go into the Fountain Complex, there's contact between Neil Farmack and Jay Hewson and Flying Flapper, as well as a massive carnage in the background as well. So let's have a look at the replay on board with Stevie Q. You can see the start that Jamo had. See, leapfrogs 3 positions from the start. Was it a jump start, or was the drivers just slow to get underway? But as we go into turn 1, Lil Yam gets up the inside of Stevie Q, and as we go on the slow-mo, obviously you know what's going to come, guys. Stevie Q gets late on the brakes, runs into Lil Yam, pushes him into the tyre wall, but this is where Stevie should be stopping and waiting for Lil Yam to retake that position, but Stevie just drives away. So very naughty there from Stevie. As we look on the replay on board with Jay Hewson, and he's just behind Flying Flapper in 6th position. And as we go down the Bridgestone straight and into turn 1 at the Toyota bend, you can see TY and Fly Flapper side by side, slight bit of contact but okay, and Neil Farmack hits Jay Hewson, and then Jay Hewson gets late on the brakes and into Flying Flapper, and then there's, well, we've got about 4 cars just gridlocked trying to get away but stopping each other. And as Jay Hewson pulls away, Blakeney comes across and puts him into the wall for good measure. So we look aboard with Neil Farmack in this slow-mo replay, and there's the contact between Jay Hewson and him, but Jay Hewson getting very late on the brakes and running right into the back of Flying Flapper, and then Neil Farmack hits Jay Hewson for the second time. And Jay Hewson has nowhere to go as he pummels into the wall. So we ride aboard with Jay Hewson. There's the contact with Neil Farmack. And yeah, he's just getting on the brakes there. And it's way too late, and contact was inevitable. And Flying Flapper fuming after that. So we ride back aboard with the leaders, with Bidster out on top, with Neo Stig just behind, Jamo in 3rd, 4th TY, 5th Neil, and 6th Stevie Q, to round up the top 6 as we go through turn 7 at the Takati turn. And Neo Stig matching Bidster stride for stride as we go into turn 8, with Jamo, a fair gap between him and Neo, with TY even further back, and a slight gap as well between TY and his teammate Neil, with Stevie just behind. So we look aboard with Flying Flapper. He gets up the inside of Razorblade just after turn 8 down the Seaside Way. They are side by side. Who's going to come out on top for turn 9? Well, Flying Flapper's got the inside line, and it looks like Razorblade does let him through, as Flying Flapper has the inside line for turn 10. As we ride back aboard with the leaders in Bidster, out in front, 7 tenths in front of Neo Stig. So as close as it can get really as we go into turn 1. And Bister loses the rear. And Neo-Stick takes advantage and goes into the lead. And Bister lucky that he didn't completely spin out. Otherwise he probably would have lost quite a number of positions there. But fortunate that he's still just behind Neo-Stick as we go into turn 6 with TY not too far behind. Jamo just behind with TY not too far behind Jamo in 4th position. So as we go into turn 7, all pretty clean through there. And as we go down Pine Avenue and approach turn 8 for Seaside Way, you can see TY all over the back of Jamo, trying to use that draft. Can he make a pass by turn 9? Probably not. So TY gets on the brakes early and filters back behind. Maybe hoping that Jamo's going to make a mistake, or maybe, you know, TY might have another opportunity to make a pass down the straight. So, after lap 2, we've got Neo-Stick out in front, Bister in 2nd, 3rd Jamo, TY 4th, Neil Farmack in 5th, and Stevie Q in 6th as we ride on board with him now. And we ride on board with Flying Flapper on lap 3 in P9, just behind the couple of cars, Seek 1 and Callum in 7th and 8th respectively. So it is the fight for 7th position as we go into the Fountain Complex and out of turn 4 and into turn 5. And Flying Flapper is closing that gap as Callum clatters into the wall. As we go into turn 6, all that's going to do is Flying Flapper is going to close that gap on Callum in front. So as we go into turn 7 for the Tecate turn, and Flapper gets the inside line, Callum goes wide, that draws Flying Flapper alongside Callum as we go into turn 8. Is there going to be contact? He's close, but Callum does give Flying Flapper the space, and Flying Flapper does go up the inside to take 8th position, with Callum having to filter back behind Flying Flapper as we get to turn 9 of the Firestone turn. So, Flying Flapper with a bit of kick oversteer there, but just rescues the car in time. And going into turn 11, Callum kind of clatters the wall there, taking too much of a tight line and losing ground on Flying Flapper as Razorblade now starts to close in on Callum for the fight for 9th position. Going down the Bridgestone straight and approaching turn 1. So both of them good on the brakes there, although Callum clatters the wall again. So Razorblade should close the gap on Callum as we come out of turn 4. But meanwhile, riding aboard with TY just behind Jamo as we just come out of turn 6. And he is right on the exhaust of Jamo as we go into turn 7 of the Tecate turn and down Pine Avenue. Jamo covers that line really well there as we go into turn 8. And TY goes in the back of Jamo and into the wall as well. And Neil Farmick goes past him, with Stevie getting past TY as well, as it's now Neil's turn to see if he can do what TY couldn't do and try and pass Jamo as we go, as we approach turn 10 of the Indy left and to the hairpin at turn 11. And Neil Farmack tries the undercut on Jamo. Has he made it work? I don't know. They're side by side as we go down the Shoreline Drive and to Bridgestone as well. Who's going to come out on top? Team Blue or Team Yellow? It looks like Neil Farmack has taken that position from Jamo and move into 3rd position. So fantastic move there from Neil Farmack. As we go into the Fountain Complex. And we ride back on board with Flying Flapper on lap 4 in P8. And he's just behind Seek 1. And he's looking to use that draft from Seek 1. Maybe he can make the pass for turn 9 at the Firestone turn as he goes up the inside now. Sticks to the inside line. And Seek 1 comes across and there's contact between both of them. And Flying Flapper into the tyre wall with Seek 1 as well. as the two cars go past and Flying Flapper moves down to 11th. So on the replay, you can see Flapper on the inside, Sequan on the outside. Sequan clearly doesn't see Flying Flapper and drives straight into Flying Flapper. And I have to say, I was really annoyed there because that was 2 incidents I was involved in that weren't my fault, and it has put me down into 11th position now. So really frustrating time for myself there as we ride on board with Razorblade in 9th position on lap 5, coming out of turn 5, and he's not too far behind Sequan. So we're going to turn 6. Razorblade takes the scenic route, cuts the corner completely. It's not the first time I've seen him do that. As we approach turn 7, Razorblade clips the wall and turns into the Tecate turn. Doesn't really affect him too much though, as we go down Pine Avenue and through to turn 8 at Seaside Way. And Razorblade gets a good line and good speed out of the corner as he looks to close down Sequan in P7 or P8, sorry. And Sequan goes too deep and into the tyre wall, and Flying Flapper in the background as well gets up the inside of Sequan on turn 10 at the Indy left, and should get the line to come out of the hairpin, and indeed he does, and gets in front of Sequan and moves up into P9. So great driving there from Flying Flapper, not so good driving there from Sequan as he loses 2 positions in 2 corners. So as we go down the Bridgestone straight and approach the Toyota turn at turn 1, and Flying Flapper loses the rear and he's into the wall, and Sequan reclaims that position from Flying Flapper, and Flying Flapper's got to do it all over again. So we ride back aboard with Bidster with Neo-Stig just out in front, and Neo-Stig goes a little bit wide and Bidster will close that gap slightly. Very rare to see Neo-Stig make silly little errors like that, but he gets away with it. And as we go down the Seaside Way, to be fair, but I think Neo-Stig got a better line of speed than Bidster as he starts to pull away slightly as we go through turn 9 at the Firestone turn, and then through turn 10 at the Indy left, and through to turn 11, and it's as tight as it can be as they both accelerate out of the corner. So we ride on board with Flying Flapper in 11th. He has closed the gap on Lil Yam as we go down to turn 7, and Lil Yam goes wide, and that gives the opportunity for Flying Flapper to draw alongside him on Pine Avenue and into turn 8. He tries the undercut, hits the wall, and then hits Lil Yam as well, and so Flying Flapper does back off to allow Lil Yam to reclaim that 10th position. And Flying Flapper showing a lot of sportsmanship there as we go into turn 9, and Lil Yam spins out and into the wall, and Flying Flapper does take 10th position away from him. So we ride on board with Jamo in 4th position as we go into turn 6, and he hits the tyre wall and the wall itself, and that spins him out, and Stevie Q gets past, and TY gets past, and Jamo is down to 6th because of that mistake. So unlucky there from Jamo as we ride on board with Stevie Q on lap 7 on turn 9 in 4th position, looking reasonably comfortable right now as we go into the sharp hairpin at turn 11, and Stevie Q loses the rear and he's into the wall, and he's facing the wrong way as well, which is not a good place to be on the hairpin as Jamo clips him. Nothing Jamo can really do there. Stevie stays put where he is. Callum gets past. Razorblade gets past as well. And Stevie Q can now turn the car around, which he fails again. So he has to reverse and then spin it around. And he's lost out on about 3 positions because of that. So we ride on board with Bidster on lap 8, just behind Neo-Stig on turn 6. And this is a fine battle between the two guys as we go into turn 7, and Neo-Stig loses the rear into the wall, and Bidster reclaims that 1st position, and that's a very rare mistake from Neo-Stig, and he's got it all to do again. So we ride on board of Callum Paul Banks on lap 8, going down the Bridgestone straight, approaching turn 1 for the Toyota Way. And Callum loses the rear and he's into the wall. And Razorblade will nip past him now And as Callum tries to turn the car around, Sequan gets past him as well, and Callum loses a couple of positions and down to 8th position. So getting really unlucky there from Callum. As we ride on board with Sequan on turn 7 in 7th position, down Pine Avenue and into turn 8 for the Seaside Way. And he's got a nice healthy gap from himself and Callum in 8th position. As we approach turn 9 at the Firestone turn, and Sequan gets on the brakes too late and straight into the tyre wall, and Callum reclaims that position back with Stevie Q getting through as well. So as we ride aboard with Neo Stig just behind Bidster on lap 9, going through turn 5. It's as close as it can be as we go through turn 6. Neo Stig loses the rear and into the wall. And a big mistake there from Neo Stig as he spins the car around. And with, what is it, a 6 to 7 second gap now, he's got it all to do if he's going to get this race win. As we ride on board with Flying Flapper just behind Sequan for the second time now in P10 as we go through the Fountain Complex. And we come through to turn 5. Both clean through there as we get into turn 6. Flapper rides a bit of that curb, but stays behind Sequan. So Sequan under all sorts of pressure from Flying Flapper right now as we go into turn 7 for the Tecate turn. Down Pine Avenue. And Flying Flapper filters just behind. But good defensive work there from Sequan. But Flying Flapper gets a good run out of the exit of turn 8. Looking to use that slipstream from Sequan as Flying Flapper gets the inside line. Goes into turn 9. And no contact there this time. They both learnt their lesson. And Sequan actually gets the inside line for turn 10 for the Indy left. And gets the run into the hairpin. And that's good defensive work there from Sequan. And both of them showing respect this time. Giving each other plenty of space. And great battle there between Sequan and Flying Flapper. As we go down the Bridgestone straight. And into turn 1 on lap 10. And both cars drift, and Sequan spins the cars. Flying Flapper somehow gets through that gap. As we look at the replay, or the slow motion replay of Flying Flapper's car, as I get a massive kick of oversteer, drift the car around. And I've got to say, it's probably the first time I've ever seen anyone pass someone by drifting through the corner. So yeah, very, very fortuitous of me to grab that position back from Sequan as we ride aboard with Stevie Q as he hits the wall for the second time, coming out of turn 7, as he's in P8 as we go through turn 8, and Stevie is looking to close that gap on Callum in 7th. I think Stevie has got the pace here, but he's just been making far too many mistakes, and you know, he needs to eradicate that. As I say that, he spins out of turn 9 and into the wall, and loses his bonnet as well for good measure. And Stevie Q's race going for better to worse as we ride aboard with Blakeney going down the Seaside Way, trying to catch Sequan. That's in 10th position. And as we go through turn 10 of the Indy left, Blakeney takes a very tight line in. And Sequan goes wide on the hairpin as well. That gives the chance of Blakeney to close that gap. And he is side by side with Sequan as we go down the Bridgestone straight. Who is going to come out on top between Team White and Team Silver, even though Sequan is in the black car? As we approach turn 1. Oh, and Sequan gets too late on the brakes, misses the turn and down the escape road, and Blakeney does take that 10th position away from him, and Sequan's going to lose a lot of time to whoever's behind now. So we ride on board with TY on lap 12 out of 15, and he is starting to close that gap on Neil Farmack as we go into turn 1 of the Toyota Way. Of course, these two being teammates of Team Blue. So it's good to see both of them battling away. But of course, you know, we like to see good battles, but they can't afford any contact here. because it could jeopardise some points for their team. So as we approach turn 7 for the Tecate turn, TY on the side of Neil Farmer has to brake early, but then tries the undercut as we go into turn 8 for Seaside Way. And the boat, I thought they were side by side there, but TY braked a little bit early, but trying to use that slipstream of Neil Farmack. It looks like he has got the pace on his teammate Neil. As we go into turn 9 of the Firestone turn, we've got a back marker just in front. Is he going to get in the way of both of them? As we go into the hairpin, Sequan moves out of the way just at the last moment, and both Team Blue teammates get through very cleanly, and to start lap 13 with 3 laps to go in this race. So going down the Bridgestone straight now, and Neil Farmack has developed a little bit of a gap from TY as we go into the Toyota Way at turn 1 and into the Fountain chicane, the Fountain complex, and TY very late on the brakes and nearly running into the back of his teammates. We go through turn 5 and into turn 6. Quite a few people have made a mistake there, but these two are okay, although Neil Farmer did hit the wall there, and that has closed the gap for TY to try and pass his teammate at turn 7. And he tries the undercut, and they are side by side as we go down Pine Avenue and into turn 8 for Seaside Way. And there's slight contact there, but I think Neil Farmer backs off and allows TY through, and TY now moves into 3rd position. So great driving from both of them, and did well to not actually crash into each other properly there. So we ride on board with Callum Paul Banks in P7 on lap 13. Just gone through the Fountain complex, past turn 5 and into turn 6. And Callum hits the tyre wall. Lucky that didn't spin him out, but Stevie Q will be closing that gap slightly as we go into turn 7. And Callum clips the wall and then spins the car out. And Stevie Q does take that position away from Callum, with Stevie going up to 7th and Callum moving down to 8th. So 2 big mistakes there from Callum has cost him a position to Stevie Q. So we ride on board with Neo, who is just catching the back markers in Blakeney and Lil Yam. You would like to think that they will give way to him at some point, as Stig, is hitting traffic now and doesn't want to lose too much time. Really wants to try and catch Bidster as the laps run out. We come out the Fountain complex, and Neo Stig gets up the inside on 2 wheels as well. Nearly spins out, and there's contact between Lil Yam and Blakeney, and the second time as well. And I've got to say that's really naughty there from Lil Yam, because he's hit him twice, used him as a brake pretty much, and moved up a position as well. So I'm sure there'll be a few words between them after the race as we ride on board with Bidstar. Going around turn 9 and 10 for the last time. He's led pretty much most of the race and never looked back since Neo Stig made the mistakes. And it's been a while since Bidstar has won a race. But as he comes across the checkered line, he wins round 8 of the sprint race 2 around Long Beach, with Neo Stig coming in 2nd, which is no disaster for him really, but his first 2nd position in this championship, as TY fends off Neil Farmack to come across the line in P3 and Neil Farmack in P4. As we ride on Jamo, going round the hairpin for the last time as well in P5. That's a good performance there from Jamo. He should be quite satisfied, even though he was in 3rd position at some point. As we look aboard with Razorblade in P6, going around the Indy left the last time and around the hairpin. And you've got to say that is a solid performance there from Razorblade, and I think he's going to be happy with a 6th position. Then we got Stevie Q in the background in 7th, with Callum 8th and Flapper 9th respectively. So let's have a look at the classified results from the race. So the classified results from round 8 at the Long Beach Street Circuit Sprint Race 2 are as follows. First is Bidster, the first guy to beat Neo Stig since Neo Stig joined the championship on round 6 at Imola. So congratulations to Bidster. P2 was Neo Stig. P3 was TY. P4 was Neil Farmack. So really good for Team Blue there. P5 was Jamo. P6 was Razorblade. P7 was Stevie Q. It says here P8 was Flying Flapper, although I know I came across the line behind Callum Paul Banks. But as you can see, a 2-second penalty was added to Callum Paul Banks' time. So it's myself in P8 and Callum Paul Banks in P9 with Lil Yam in P10. P11 was Blakeney. P12 was Seek1. 13th would have been Jay Hewson, but he retired on lap 1, and Danny Quaver didn't participate in this race at all. So that is the video done, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please show your appreciation by smashing that like button, hitting that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you next time, round 9 of the Spa Grand Prix in the rain. So look out for that, and I'll see you next time. Take care and bye-bye for now.